Hello everyone, I'm Prashant. I'm a postdoc at Berkeley Lab at UC Berkeley. Today in this talk, I'll tell you about some of our work in building hierarchical graph containers for skewed dynamic graphs. This is a joint work with Brian Beekman from Johns Hopkins, Helen Zhu from MIT, and Ajin Bulich from UC Berkeley and Berkeley Lab. So let's first start by talking about dynamic graphs. So dynamic graphs are the graphs that change over time. And dynamic graphs are also important to us because many real-world graphs, they change over time. For example, the graphs in the social networks where we make new friends or follow new people, graphs in computational biology, for example, the protein network graphs or the assembly graphs, and the graphs on the internet like the search engine graphs and so on. A system that can process these dynamic graphs, it must support a stream of updates and queries quickly. Now let's see what kind of operations we do on dynamic graphs. So most graph computations, for example, breadth first search, page rank, between a centrality, connected components, triangle counting, shortest path, etc., they require scanning the neighbors of the nodes in the graph. And when we're talking about dynamic graphs, we also want to support adding and deleting edges in the graph. So there are two basic types of operations. The one is the scanning operations and the other one is an update operations. And there has been an inherent trade-off in performing these two types of operations. For example, there are different types of data structures that lie in different regions of this curve. For example, if we want to support very, very efficient and fast scanning operations, a sorted array kind of data structure gives you very efficient scans. However, it is not good in terms of update speed. On the other hand, if we talk about data structures which are asymptotically optimal to support updates, the tree data structures are there, for example, a B tree. These data structures support very, very efficient update operations, although they suffer or they are slow compared to sorted arrays in terms of scanning or scan operations. Now, there have been other data structures, for example, sparse arrays, specifically speaking packed memory array or PMAs, that try to balance in between the scan and the update speed of a sorted array and a B tree. These type of data structures create sparse arrays and they allow fast scanning, and at the same time, they are slightly slower compared to trees in terms of update speeds. In the past, there have been graph-like representation systems that have used all of these three types of data structures in representing either the static graphs or the dynamic graphs. For example, once we talk about static graphs in which the graphs don't change, there are no updates, we just have to store the graphs efficiently and enable fast graph computations, people have used sorted arrays, or specifically speaking, compressed sparse rows kind of structures. Ligra is a system which uses the compressed sparse rows and is a state-of-the-art like system for representing static graphs. When there are systems recently proposed that use packed memory array data structures to represent dynamic graphs. So packed memory arrays to store as a shared structure to store the neighbors of the nodes in the graph. It supports adding and deleting edges from the graph and also supports fast scans. Recently, there have been systems that use B trees or compressed trees, specifically speaking, to represent dynamic graphs. Aspen specifically uses compressed trees to build a system which is highly parallel based on snapshotting to allow very, very high speed updates on the graph and at the same time supports efficient graph computations. All of these systems, they use a single type of data structure, either it is a sorted array or a packed memory array or even a tree data structure for different types of or all the nodes in your graph. Now the question is, does one size fits all? Do we really need to use a single type of data structure for every node, for storing the neighbors of every node in the graph? And our answer to that question is no. Actually, one size does not fit all. And what we show is that in real world graphs, there are properties of the graph which are inherent to these graphs where we can exploit these properties and actually build a hierarchical container wherein we want to use data structures for storing the neighbors of the graph, neighbors of the nodes, depending on the degree of the node. And by doing that, what we can achieve is we can overcome this implicit trade-off in terms of the scanning speed and the update speed of existing graph processing systems. Therese, what what Terrace does is that it outperforms Aspen, which is a dynamic graph processing like system, and matches or even slightly slower than the static graph processing like systems like Lygra. In terms of update speed, Terrace actually matches Aspen for batch insertions. So what you are seeing here is that best of both the worlds. Specifically speaking, on the left-hand side, we have a plot showing the graph computation speed for different graph kernels, like breadth first search, page rank, between a centrality, connected component, for single source, shortest path, and triangle counting. This plot is normalized based on the performance of Lygra, which is a static graph processing system. We see that for different graph kernels, the Terrace is always faster than Aspen. In some cases, it is actually slightly faster than Lygra as well. But for some graph kernels, it is slower. For example, triangle counting and a single source shortest path compared to Lygra, which is again a static graph processing like system, whereas Terrace is a dynamic graph processing system. In terms of the speed to do batch insertions, Terrace is as fast as Aspen for batches of size up to 1 million edges. But when we increase the batch size to even larger, like 10 million, Aspen is slightly faster than Terrace. Now that we have looked at the overview of the results, let's talk about how we actually build a hierarchical graph container in Terrace to actually achieve these numbers, or how to build an efficient dynamic graph processing system. When we're talking about dynamic graphs, and specifically the real world graphs, one thing that is inherent to these graphs is the fact that these graphs are often skewed. And from skewed, I mean these graphs follow a power law distribution in terms of the degrees of the nodes. From that, I mean there are very few nodes that have a very, very high degree, and there are lots of low degree nodes. For example, in our Twitter, there are some users that have a very, very high follower count, and there are millions and millions of users that have a very small number of followers. And this is an inherent structure in many other types of real world graphs. For example, here we have plotted some statistics about 3 different types of graphs like LiveJournal, Twitter, and protein graphs. Important point to note here is that for most graphs, almost 65% of the nodes have degree less than 10. What that means is that these 10 neighbors of these nodes can be stored in a very small space, in most cases, along with other, like the metadata of the nodes, and we don't have to do any kind of a cache miss to access these neighbors. Also important to note is that almost all the nodes, for example, close to 99% nodes have neighbors less than 1,000. So there are very few nodes that have a very large follower count, like million. For example, in Twitter, there are users with a follower count of million, but still 99% of the nodes have a very small follower count, close to 1,000. What this says is that we don't really have to use the same type of data structure for different types of nodes in your graph. We can use a separate data structure for nodes with very high degree, and a very efficient and different kind of data structure for nodes with for lots of nodes with small degree. So the fact that the skewness is inherent in real world graph, this has been also exploited in building other types of static graph processing systems in the past. People have actually used pre-processing in order to find optimal partitioning of the graph statically to build very, very efficient graph processing systems which are cache friendly and support high throughput graph computations. However, pre-processing in dynamic graphs is not feasible because we don't have access to the whole graph statically. Therefore, we need to devise a technique in which we can dynamically partition the graph based on the degree of the node. In Terrace, that's exactly what we are doing. In Terrace, we build a hierarchical graph container in which the storage of the neighbors of a node depends on the degree of the node, and it can change dynamically based on the presence of new edges and deleting of the old edges. The main design principle behind the Terrace is that nodes should share a structure for locality. From that, I mean, when we store the neighbors of the node, we want to store all the neighbors of different nodes in a single structure for locality, but not if the degree of the node is too high. Because when the degree of the node is too high, in many cases, the degree of the node is a constant fraction of all of the edges in the node, then we want to have a separate structure for these nodes so that we don't affect the asymptotics in terms of update speeds for the rest of the nodes in the graph. So let's take an example. Here we have the Twitter followers from the different people on Twitter. The first four are the authors on this paper. And then we have another user which has a really high follower count, like Barack Obama. Now, what we do in Terrace is that we store a few neighbors for each node in place. And from in place, I mean along with other metadata information for each node. For example, like the degree of the node and other kind of the metadata. So where we store the metadata for each node, we also stored a few neighbors for each node. We keep it usually between 10 to 13, depending on the configuration of the systems. The main idea behind is that we want to make sure that these in-place things can be stored in one cache line for each node. Then we use a shared structure to store the neighbors for the nodes that have a medium degree. And why I'm saying the medium degree is because this shared structure, we want to make sure that is not too big because if it is too big, then the update cost of doing like adding or deleting edges in the shared structure can be very high if we store a node with very high degree in the shared structure. So we make sure that the shared structure contains the nodes that have a degree which is not very high. In practice, we have a cutoff which is close to 1,000 neighbors. So we only store nodes with the degree of 1,000 in the shared structure. And then whenever there's a node which has a very high degree, which is more than 1,000 or like few thousand, then what we do is that in order to make sure that we can balance between the scanning operation and the update operation, we allocate a dedicated asymptotically optimal data structure to store the neighbors for those nodes. Now, the big question is, how do we decide what kind of data structure we want to use for these like the levels? The question is, there's this inherent trade-off between the order maintenance array-based structures like a packed memory array or PMA and the tree-based structures, for example, B-tree, in terms of their updatability and scan cost. In practice, there is a crossover points. For example, in this plot, we show the throughput of doing different operations. For example, an insert operation, which is an update operation, and the sum operation, which is a scanning operation for data sets of different sizes. X-axis is increasing data size. This y-axis is normalized based on the time of doing these operations in the B tree. We see that the PMA data structure is always faster in terms of scanning operations because of the good data locality. But when it comes to doing operations like point queries, like a get operation or like insert, like an update operation, BT data structure is better compared to PMA. So PMA is always faster for scans, but it trades off update for query performance. So PMA is a appropriate data structure to represent the shared data structure in which the scans are very fast, where we want to keep the neighbors of a bunch of nodes together so we can do them fast scanning. But it also, we don't want the PMA structure to grow very big so that the update becomes a problem. Therefore, we always have a cutoff in the degree of the node that can be stored in the PMA. And whenever the degree of the node is really high, then we use a B-tree data structure, which is asymptotically optimal in terms of its update cost. One important point to note here is that Terrace maintains a global or sorted order of edges across the different data structures. Finally, I want to say that the neighbors of a node can be split across only two levels in this structure. Either they can be in the in-place or the PMA, or they can be in the in-place or the B-tree. Now let's see how do we do insert operations in Terrace. So in Terrace, we implement this batched parallel model of doing this update operations, in which we get a batch of updates like batch of inserts or batch of deletes, and then we do those batch updates in the data structure. So once we get a batch of like inserts, first phase requires us to sort all the edges in the batch. The next phase, we do a merge operation between the neighbors stored in the in-place structure and the new edges that are available in the batch. Once we have done the sorting, then we take the first few neighbors, depending on the cutoff of the in-place structure, and store them in the in-place structure. And the rest of the edges, which are present after the merge operation, they go to the next levels in the tree, in the system. Whenever things go to the next level, it might happen that some nodes might change their level. For example, some nodes which were previously stored in the PMA will now have to have a dedicated B tree structure or like a third level structure. And when that happens, we do the move and move the neighbors of a given node from the PMA to a B tree and so on. So this is how we implement batch parallel insertions in the PMA. The deletions are implemented in the same way, similar to the insert operations which are done in the batches. Another point to note that when we are doing this in like moving neighbors from PMA structure to the B tree or back from the B tree to a PMA, these things can be efficiently done because both these structures like the B tree or the PMA support very, very efficient merge operations in batches. Now let's take a look at some of our evaluation. In our evaluation, we have used different real-world graphs coming from the social networks, computational biology, or even the live journal. And we have also used some simulated graphs from RMAT suite, which follow a power law distribution. The graphs range as big as 2 billion edges per data set, for example, in the Twitter graph. These all graphs are symmetrized in order to support like insertions and edges in the Twitter system, which currently only supports like symmetrized graphs. Now, we have divided the graph computations or graph kernels into two types. First one is arbitrary order kernel. What arbitrary order kernel are is that we don't really care about any order of the neighbors in the graph. We just scan the neighbors of the graph in the order whichever that is present in the system. For example, page rank or connected components are the two graph kernels that are arbitrary order. We see that Terrace is slightly faster than even LiGraph, which is a static graph processing system. This is because of the fact is that, like recall, in the statistics of these different graph datasets, we showed that almost 65% of the nodes have neighbors less than 10. And all of those neighbors in Terrace are stored in place. What that means is that whenever we access the neighbors of these nodes, we don't have to do any extra cache miss. Whereas in LiGraph, which is based on compressed sparse rows, irrespective of the degree of the node, we always have to do one extra cache miss. Therefore, we see this slight speed up compared to LiGraph in Terrace, which is a dynamic graph processing system. Compared to Aspen, Terrace is always faster and up to 1.7x to 2x faster on different graph kernels. There are other types of kernels which are topology defined, wherein we have to scan the nodes in a specific order given by the graph kernel, for example, a breadth first reversal or the betweenness centrality. In these graph kernels, we see that Terrace is either slightly faster than LiGraph, or in some cases it is slightly slower, specifically in data sets which contain nodes with very, very high degree. For example, in the Twitter graph, there are nodes with a degree of million. What happens is then a lot of the edges in that graph are stored in the B tree. And the B tree structure in Terrace is not very optimized. It's a very standard data structure, and our plan is to make it more optimized by using compression and other techniques. And then we can bring down the cost even on graphs wherein some nodes are present with a very, very high degree. For other types of graph kernels, Terrace is always faster and up to 3x compared to Aspen. In terms of space requirements, we know that these data structures like the B tree and PMA have high space like overhead compared to array-based data structures, and which is why we see close to 2x space overhead in Terrace compared to Aspen. And in the future work, we are planning to use some of the data compression techniques which are already used in Aspen to inculcate in Terrace to bring down the memory overhead costs. Finally, to conclude my talk, I want to say that the hierarchical design offers promise for building high-performance dynamic graph containers. We also show in Terrace that we can exploit the inherent skewness in real-world graphs to overcome this traditional update and scan trade-off, which is present in most of the graph processing like systems which are available today. Thank you so much for coming to the talk, and I will take questions now.